Hello everyone, nice to see you again on my channel. You ever feel like she's giving you signs, but you're just not sure? Like there's this quiet undertone in her behavior, a soft rhythm of interest that never really becomes obvious, yet you can't help but feel it. That's what we're talking about today. Not loud declarations or clear words, but gestures, subtle cues, little moments, signs that she secretly likes you, even if she hasn't said a word. And we're not going to shout or hype this up. We're going to sit down and talk about this like two people figuring things out together through the lens of observation, reason, and a little bit of Stoic insight. Because when you understand how a woman's emotions flow beneath the surface, when you read between the lines with calm awareness, you start to see a lot more than what's on the surface. The beginning of her signals, the quiet shift. There's this moment that happens before anything's ever said out loud. A shift, a look, a pause in conversation that stretches just a second longer than it needs to. When a woman starts to like someone, it's almost never declared in the beginning. It's sensed. And often, it starts with small behavioral changes. Changes she might not even realize she's making. It could be the way she listens, not just hearing your words, but really being present with you. There's a softness in her attention, as if she's trying to memorize parts of you that don't seem important to anyone else. Your mannerisms, your energy, the way you speak. She might lean in a little closer when you talk, not because she can't hear you, but because she wants to be closer, not physically but emotionally. That subtle leaning in is often the body's way of saying, I want to be more in your world. Subtle touches, subtle tests. When attraction is secret and she's not quite ready to put herself out there, you'll see it in indirect touches. She brushes past you a little more often than usual. Her hand lingers when she gives something to you. Sometimes it's so light you could easily dismiss it. But if you watch closely, those subtle touches aren't accidental. They're quiet signals, carefully sent to see how you'll respond. And that's where Stoicism teaches us something important, that rather than reacting impulsively, we need to observe. Be aware without assuming. Watch for patterns, not just one-time moments, because one subtle touch can be coincidence, but repetition. Repetition is intention, cloaked in hesitation. The way she remembers, emotional bookmarking. Another quiet sign is when she remembers the small things, not just what you said, but how you said it. The weird snack you like, the kind of music you listen to when you're feeling off, the joke you made 3 days ago that she brings up out of nowhere. That's not random. That's emotional bookmarking. That's what happens when a woman's interest turns into curiosity, and curiosity turns into something more. She remembers these things because her mind lingers on you when you're not around. It's that simple. And Stoicism reminds us that attention is currency. What someone pays attention to reveals what they value. If she's investing her mental energy and remembering the little fragments of your life, that's not just kindness. That's connection being formed in real time. Jealousy without ownership, the unspoken reaction. You ever mention another woman in passing, and her energy shifts? Maybe she doesn't say much, maybe she plays it cool, but you can feel it, that brief flicker of jealousy quickly suppressed. That's one of the most telling signs, because it's involuntary. She doesn't want to care, but she does, and it leaks out before she can pull it back in. The beauty of Stoicism is learning how to spot emotional cues while staying grounded. You don't react with ego. You don't use it to manipulate. You observe it. You understand what it means, and you appreciate it as a reflection of interest that's real, even if it's being hidden behind composure. Her energy softens, the emotional glow. When a woman secretly likes you, something about her energy just softens around you. Her guard lowers a bit, even if she's usually closed off. Her voice becomes warmer, her expressions more relaxed. You might catch her smiling at things that aren't even that funny, not because she's faking, but because your presence changes her internal weather. This isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it's quiet, like the way her voice lowers when she's speaking just to you, or the way her expression shifts when she thinks you're not looking. You have to be still enough, calm enough, to pick up on that. A Stoic heart notices without needing to act. It lets the moment exist without controlling it. She mirrors you, subconscious alignment. You ever see her match your tone, your posture, even your phrasing? That's mirroring, and it's something the subconscious does when there's emotional alignment. It's like her nervous system is syncing up with yours without even realizing it. And that's a sign that trust is forming, that she's emotionally safe with you, which is often the first requirement for deeper attraction. This isn't something you can force. It happens naturally when the energy between two people begins to harmonize. It's less about logic and more about biology, the body reacting before the mind catches up. Her eyes tell on her, the gaze that lingers. Eye contact changes when interest is involved. There's a stillness to it. A little more time spent looking at you when she thinks you won't notice, a hesitation before she looks away. And sometimes she holds that gaze just a little longer, not enough to make it obvious, but long enough to be meaningful. You can feel the difference between casual eye contact and that lingering gaze. That moment when her eyes are telling you something her mouth isn't ready to say yet. And if you meet that look with calmness instead of pressure, it encourages her to keep showing up with that vulnerability. The way she makes space for you, subtle invitations. Sometimes it's not what she says, but what she makes room for. She finds ways to include you, invites you into her world in small ways, asks for your help even when she probably doesn't need it. Sends you something that reminded her of you. Those aren't just friendly gestures, they're emotional invitations, and you'll know it's real when it's consistent. She initiates, not always obviously, but with effort. Stoicism teaches us to recognize effort without entitlement. If she's making room for you in her world, in her schedule, her thoughts, her quiet moments, she's telling you something without ever having to say the words. Moments of vulnerability, when the mask slips. When someone likes you, they begin to show you pieces of themselves that they don't reveal to everyone. She might tell you something personal, a struggle, a fear, a hope. It's never random. Vulnerability is a gift, and people don't hand it out unless they feel something deeper. She might try to play it off after, "I don't know why I told you that." But that's just her way of processing the emotional risk she just took. If a woman is allowing herself to be seen in a way that's raw, real, and unrehearsed, she's not just being friendly, she's opening a door. The question is, will you walk through it with presence and integrity? She pulls away sometimes, the push-pull dynamic. Here's the paradox. Sometimes the clearest sign that she secretly likes you is that she pulls back, creates a little distance, not because she lost interest, but because the feelings are getting too real. When emotions deepen, it can be overwhelming, especially if she wasn't expecting it, so you might see her retreat for a bit. Not ghosting, just pulling into herself to process it. And this is where many people get it wrong. They chase, they panic. But the Stoic way is different. It says, remain still, let her come back in her own time, because if it's real, she will come back, and she'll respect you even more for not trying to force it. Clarity in silence. So many of the signs a woman likes you are not spoken. They exist in pauses, in glances, in soft changes in her behavior. And the more grounded you are, the more of them you'll begin to notice. Not because you're trying to decode her like a puzzle, but because you're fully present with her. That's the power of Stoicism in relationships. It helps you slow down. It helps you see clearly, and it teaches you that if you stay calm, curious, and observant, people will show you who they are, even when they're trying to keep it a secret. There's a different kind of attraction that happens when a woman feels emotionally safe. It's slower, it's richer, it's less about excitement and more about depth. She doesn't rush into it, she sinks into it. And if you're grounded, she'll follow your pace. That's something Stoic men understand deeply, being in control of the tempo, not manipulating, not withholding, but simply guiding the rhythm of connection through stillness and intention. And look, sometimes the moment will come where it's obvious. You're alone. She's close. The energy is electric. There's tension. That look in her eyes says everything. But even then, the Stoic man doesn't move from ego. He moves from awareness. He asks himself, not can I, but should I? Because desire is powerful, but so is discipline. And that's where so many men fall short. They think the opportunity is the reward, but in reality, the restraint is the reward, being able to act and choosing not to until the moment is right. That kind of energy builds anticipation, and anticipation is magnetic. It's a form of intimacy all on its own. When a woman feels that you're not rushing, that you're not trying to skip steps, she relaxes even more. She opens up, not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically. And when those three things are aligned, what happens next is not just connection, it's chemistry, the real kind. You know, there's a reason why the strongest men in history, the most admired leaders, the most grounded lovers, all shared one thing in common: restraint. They didn't react to every impulse. They didn't chase every temptation. They were selective. They were deliberate. That made them trustworthy. And women, especially women who are emotionally intelligent, feel safe with a man who leads with that kind of discipline. Because at the end of the day, what she wants isn't just a man who can be intimate with her. She wants a man who chooses her, who sees her, who doesn't rush the moment but honors it, who understands that intimacy isn't about what happens behind closed doors. It starts long before that, in the way you look at her, listen to her, respond to her energy. And when she feels that you see her, not just her body but her soul, that's when she leans all the way in. So take a step back and look at your energy. Are you listening? Or are you performing? Are you observing? Or are you trying to make something happen? Because when you shift into true presence, you don't have to try anymore. She'll show you in how she speaks to you, in how she laughs, in how she touches you, in how she holds eye contact that lingers a little too long. And when she shows you, your only job is to meet her in that space, with respect, with calm, with awareness.